You want to do serious infrastructural interventions in this city to make it the world-class capital it should be. Because we'll talk about flooding, about drainage, about BRT, about mass transit. Unless you get 200, 300 billion at a go, then the governor is a glorified cashier, paying salaries, and collecting garbage, which is not even efficient, if you do it in that way. And so I would want to invite the Senate, and even through our committee in COG of Budget and Finance, to actually have a critical analysis of subnational financing, because it would not work the way we're going. We have put in place certain measures, which I'm very happy to report on today. And these measures have led us to raising the highest amount of revenue in the history of devolution, at 12.8, which is the current report that is being looked at. We've used the same even for our water company. Senator Osoti's committee will be looking into that, because we made them go beyond the ceiling they had of 8 billion, and there is 10.5 billion Nairobi water, which is more than many counties raise. Actually, possibly 10 to 13 counties combined, in terms of collections, reducing non-revenue water. How we've done that, if you allow me to go into the specific examples.
Governor, I appreciate that, and actually my query was over and above the 12 billions, the 10.5 billions.
Yeah.
From Onkara, you expect to get how much?
Around 20
billion.
Around 20 now that it's been reviewed.
We are all in consensus that you cannot develop and run Nairobi with 20 billion plus 12 billion plus another 10 billion. It is insufficient. And of course,
which are the 10 billion?
The one from Nairobi Water?
Oh no, yeah, that is for...
Yes, and that's ring-fenced for in fact, even that 10 billion is not sufficient to provide sanitation and water services to Nairobi.
Yeah.
And really, the question is, what is the thinking? Because the Urban Areas and Cities Act requires that there should be specific financing for cities. But it does not come through DORA. You have to go and negotiate a deal before Treasury. I don't know who you've been talking to acquire the additional 4 billion. Why can't we institutionalize that conversation so that it is not a begging mission by the governor of Nairobi to the national government? How can we help you to institutionalize it and to ring-fence it? Because the money you have is not enough.
Chair and Governor, you can take this together. There's something Senator Cherargei said about your friendships. At least I know that one of your friends, my party leader, has taken a position on division of revenue.
Yes.
All those things you are saying, when you discuss with your party leader, what does he say about your views? Because at least mine is clear on how much money should come to the counties. I just want to know, what does he say about some of the things you're saying? And number two, we have had a conversation in this city about the money that is owed by national government institutions through unpaid rates to the Nairobi City County. Again, I want to understand, when you have those conversations with your party leader, who's the head of state, what is his position on these things? Or should we wait until your other friend becomes the head of state so that these things can be done?
I thought we were keen on institutionalizing the conversations rather than basing it on the friendship.
It's about the head of the African states. On a more substantive issue, Governor has alluded to that in the history of devolution, I don't know whether within Nairobi City County or across the country, he has collected at 12.8 billion.
Yes.
In comparison to what? Because, when he says what is the target and the revenue potential, I don't know whether Dahir, you can tell us what is the revenue potential, or Salatu is here, the revenue potential of Nairobi City County, because what governor is collecting of 12.8 billion is that the auditor does not have the view of the system in itself. And maybe governor can be gracious as he is today and smiley today, is that he should tell us how much under Nairobi Metropolitan Services, and he cannot run away from this because he was the area senator, and then how much were they collecting comparison to 12.8 billion that we are talking about? Thank you, Chair.
Yeah, and I think, Governor, it's also fair when you congratulate yourself on 12.8.
Include such financing agreements based on their work, their balance sheets, we'd have seen a lot of progress. I'm glad we are now getting the 140 million extra, which is concluded from Northern Collector 1. Remember, Nairobi receives 525 million liters daily. We need 900. So we've just bridged the deficit a bit by 140 million. Areas like Karen, like Reruta, Ngando, which had never been getting water. I know we'll commission soon the pipes at Embakasi Garrison going down into Mihango and Utawala. Will change lives of many Nairobians. Those who get water twice will get thrice. But Chair, coming back to...
Make it very brief. Senator Cherargei says we are now sounding like we are doing a State of the County address.
No,
so
just answering questions.
I'll give you about 3 minutes to wind up so that we come back to the agenda.
Chair, the Senator for Nairobi, my friend Senator Sifuna, has asked a critical question on the philosophy of devolution of certain individuals in our country. I want to say that never before has a capital gotten support in terms of sitting down together, thinking through the problems. I know that the support Governor Kidero didn't get, Governor Sonko didn't get, possibly didn't ask for, but he didn't get that. But the President has created an atmosphere where we can sit down and say, look, we need to sort out the city. If you look at the investment going into the river regeneration project, which is under a commission that we jointly set up. We have representatives of Nairobi there. And recently Bishop Wanjiru went there.
Which someone was doing a comparative analysis talking about similar projects, but I think it was in London, at the Thames.
Yeah.
It was headed by an engineer. Yours is headed by an evangelist.
Let me not say too much about the individual.
But baptism happens around rivers, so you...
Oh my goodness. But if you look at that plan, and it will really excite you as a Nairobian, because you have an inverted city. The rivers were hidden. If you look at the 1926 master plan of the city and 48, the settlers wanted the higher areas. And so they created what they called a buffer zone, which became the slums. That's when there's floods. It's affecting Kibra, Mukuru, Madare, Huruma, all of those. Now that is going to change. But close to 70 billion shillings has been secured by the national government to support that work, plus what Nairobi Water is going to do. So, yes, the President is in full support to the capital. I think he said it as recently as Sunday. And this framework that we're working on with the Minister for Roads, that they would then inject, in the beginning 4 billion, the total cost is 11 billion, I think is an example of that kind of support. I can only speak about that kind of support to Nairobi because I can see it, and I feel it. The number of, I think we're the only county that has had a joint cabinet meeting of my cabinet and the national government sitting across the table, the President chairing that side, the Governor of Nairobi on this side, saying what do we need to do for the capital. Because you must realize, in as much as it says the capital city shall be governed like any other county, that because it's the seat of the national government, and also a diplomatic, this is the only UN headquarters in the global south, then special arrangements need to be done. So I hope I've answered Senator Sifuna in terms of the personal philosophy of the head of state when it comes to devolution in Nairobi County.
Senator Nyuka?
Governor, you sure you'll do those things?
Lazima work. We have to.
Okay, I'll check on you next year.
We have to do it because I'll come back to the people of Nairobi.
Well, for it to work, you need what we call means of implementation, and resources are extremely important. Financial and human resource.
Yes.
Some of these things you're talking about, Nairobi River, you could be innovative and seek climate financing. You see, the definition of climate finance could include when you have to raise a bridge because there's rising water in the rivers. That qualifies for climate finance.
Yes.
And I think the team you assemble around you should not just be thinking of how to use kanjos to collect more, but to look at some of those global funds that have been established.
I agree.
The Green Climate Fund, GCF, when we're in Baku, they're having quiet conversations. They're thinking of setting up their regional headquarters in Nairobi.
Wonderful.
The Global Center on Adaptation, during the Africa Climate Summit, they declared they're going to set up their headquarters in Nairobi. So Nairobi is not just a UN headquarter, but it could be the climate headquarter for this region.
For the world.
So those are innovative areas that you guys must think through. But please, our job is not just to fight with you over cents and coins in your revenue systems. Our job is to enable you to deliver, to put in place proper institutional frameworks for delivery. But if you squander the opportunity, then perhaps your 4 or 5 years will have the same report card as the one for Kananu, and as the one for Mutura, and as the one for Sonko, and as the one for Kidero.
Chair, I share in your skepticism, and I'm sure the governor knows me well to be a proper cynic. We don't like stories in Nairobi as well. We just want to see output. So you are saying the philosophy is positive from those heading the executive. I would expect that if that was the case, there are 100 million shillings million US dollars that is stuck in Nairobi in the treasury for the water project. He should be able to unlock it as the head of state. The BRT at Thika Road, why is it stuck? Nothing is happening. The compensation for the people who are evicted for the Nairobi River, you're talking about billions of shillings. They were promised only, I think it was 10,000 shillings each. They have not seen that money. So in terms of output, Governor, which one of those things are you confident that you can deliver for the people of Nairobi before we go into the elections? Which one are you sure 100% that we will get to do? Can you at least promise us that that boulevard you are promising us along the river will be done before we go into the next elections? Because my job will be to remind you.
And I know you're good at reminding me.
Maybe Senator Cherargei, so that the governor responds and we move on.
Well, the governor has a good vision. Also, it is important that apart from river regeneration, the issue of infrastructure, there was a small matter of Wakulima market that he went ahead and gave problems to my friend then. So what are you doing about it? Because we saw a number of traders didn't want to be relocated to some Kangundo or somewhere. They wanted to be within CBD. And you know, and they are now back on the road. And Senator Sifuna would want to have fresh mboga for his ugalai when he's having ugali within the CPD, because we don't want him to be traveling far outside the CPD. What are you doing about it?
Senator Dulo?
Chair, just a general comment to senators. Senator Governor Sakaja. There was a proposal, you remember in the last Senate, that I don't know whether it was the current ML or Senator Gitura, proposing that Nairobi County status should be removed. Now that you have a feel of Nairobi County, do you think it's worth moving that direction, or you still feel that Nairobi should remain a county? Thank you.
Chair, devolution is the greatest gift given to this country by the 2010 Constitution. 10% of our population is in Nairobi. It would be really wrong to deny them that gift. Many people have felt that when things under the national government, they work better. I think the experiment that happened a few years ago shows the contrary. A question was asked on how much, Cherargei asked how much revenue NMS raised. The first year they did 8.9, then 10.5. Immediately we surpassed that. Despite them having the military, the guns, even the bombs, we were able to raise more without fighting the people, without even introducing a new revenue raising measure in this past financial year, but in digitizing fully. All our revenue streams are digitized, and making sure there's compliance and convenience. You know, somebody wants to pay for their single business, unified business permit from their shop in Kayole and print it for themselves and have an e-verification. And that is why we've been able to raise the highest amount and to have one license. You know, before they used to be 5-6 licenses. You're told first back to the county, you're told to go to 14th floor for advertising. You're told now it is one license, you know, at our revamped customer service center, which you should visit, because the County Government Act asks all counties to have a customer service, a place where the first ones to set that up. So the notion, the idea that has always been there, which is an anti-devolution, sloganeering to paint counties as inefficient, is a lie. Assuming that there are angels in national government and demons in the counties is wrong. And they say give a dog a bad name and then you kill it. If you look at the efficiencies created by devolution, that lady in Mutuini, who knows that she can actually get, her representative there to sort out her medical issues. If you go to Udhiru Rudhimitu today in Nairobi, they have their first tarmac done by the county government. If you go to Njadaini in Zimmerman, they have never seen a project. They are seeing it now. Ruai, which is an eighth of the county, Ruai ward, it's probably, I think, a sixth to an eighth. It's the biggest ward. Today, the first tarmac being done, 147 million shillings worth, is being done by the county government of Nairobi. And so what happens in countries that have that dilemma is they move from their bustling economic capital to another part of the country and create a seat of national government. In Australia, they moved from Sydney and they went to Canberra, and they formed the capital city. In the US, they moved that time either from New York or New Philadelphia to the District of Columbia, Washington, which has no senator. It just has a mayor, it has no governor, because it's the seat of the national government. Land was provided by Delaware and Virginia and the rest. If you go to Nigeria, they moved from Lagos and created Abuja as a seat of national government. And so if there's that idea, I think Isiolo would be good, Senator Dulo, because you're in the center of the country, geographical center. That is where the national government should move to. But Nairobians, born and raised here in this city, and those who've come, who we embrace, deserve devolution. Chair, the next question by Senator, by yourself. Thank you so much. That is the kind of thinking that I'm at. There is a lot that we can get from climate adaptation. The world has realized that the potential of Africa to sort out climate issues is real. In 1950, Europe's population was 22% of the world. Africa was 7%. Today, as we move to 2050, Europe is 7% and Africa has 25%, meaning 1 out of 4 people are going to be here and 65% will be in cities. And so by 2050, Nairobi will have 10.5 million people. If we don't do climate adaptation, and I'm with you because I know you chair the caucus on climate in Parliament, if I'm not wrong. I'm also the vice chair of C40 cities globally. I deputize the mayor of London. And through that, we've been able to now get support. For instance, solarization of our markets is being done by C40 cities. We are looking at how we can actually get carbon credits for some of our resources in Nairobi, including City Park, which is another issue where at that time of NMS, they created a fake title deed and moved City Park to the national government. Yet we hold the original title. City Park belongs to the people of Nairobi. KFS is there illegally. And these are things that we need, us to interact with the Senate. Right now, it's before the Intergovernmental Technical Relations Committee to revert that back to the county. The same way we got back Uhuru Park, and we expect to get back Central Park when their contractor is finished this coming month. And so, it is that innovative financing. I've had discussions with colleagues on the continent. The mayor of Cape Town, for instance, Jordan Hill-Lewis, did one of the most successful municipal bonds. We have the template to do it. We did an analysis of a green bond by FSD Africa, that what Nairobi can get. If you just remove that limitation in PFM regulations that pegs it on a percentage of on-source revenue, it cannot be a percentage of that. It must be how much in 10 years you'll get for sure, front-loading it, so that you can do that heavy infrastructural work, Chair. I think the final one was from Senator Cherargei about Wakulima market. And I'm sorry for whoever your friend you're referring to, I don't know, who ran into some headwinds. Chair, one of the things we said we will do is create order in this city, because the city needs order. We're building 20 markets. The markets that have excess people will have to work within their limits. It is true at that point, the political atmosphere had been muddied because we had agreed with the market traders. Someone was saying they introduced me to these people. The chairman of Wakulima Market is called Tony. He was my youth leader in TNA when I was the chairman. Yeah, we know these people. We speak to them. They want those efficiencies. Remember, less than 2 years ago, 52 women were killed in Londiani because of selling on the road. They were killed. Do we wait for an accident in Nairobi for us to relocate them, yet we've completed a market somewhere for wholesale? So we had agreed, and we will continue with that plan. And it is not to move the market. You know, it was really expressed badly by, friends of Cherargei, as is claimed. We're not moving any market. The capacity of Wakulima was 97 trucks for wholesale. The 90th truck will go to Kangundo Road. The capacity of the traders was around, and today you'll find 300 trucks. The capacity for traders was less than 1,000. The 1,000 and fast will go to Kangundo Road. We're building another market. We're redoing Toi Market. Mutuini Market right now, if you go, is moving very fast. And it is right on a bypass.
Yeah. Governor, just on that line, even as we sit here today, the traders who are trading outside Wakulima Market on the street, they are there now. I've seen it with my own eyes today.
Yeah, and we'll
So, what was the fuss all about? I mean, because the impression you gave us is that you had agreements with the traders to move to Kangundo Road. Why are they still there?
It's not the same traders. It's hawkers.
So, then what is the point of moving one person only to be replaced by another?
You have to keep doing it. You know, on theory, Senator, it's good to say we've moved them. Every single day is an enforcement day. Every single day.
So I work.
It must work.
It is not
That's my work. It must.
But it's not working yet.
It's not
It is
working
working.
yet.
It is working to a great extent, and I will show you.
So maybe
Look at the level of
honorable senators.
How many have you relocated from Wakulima Market to Kangundo? So that, as you say, the people who are selling outside are hawkers.
They are hawkers.
How many have you relocated? And it's good you know the chair of Toi and the Wakulima Market, Tony.
I think it would be beneficial for the actual committee to look into those details.
Which actual committee?
You have a committee on trade, don't you?
asking the wrong
Governor, you have been very generous with information on other matters. When it comes to this, you think it should be handled by another committee? I don't think that's being fair.
No,
Because
and I'll give you the information. My apologies.
With the truth.
My apologies, Chair. If you look at the turnover of different people who, and you know, they're aching out a living. Chair, in the last 2 years, there have not been running battles in this city, as used to be. You remember, you'd hear stories of hawkers being stabbed with pliers, fighting with the city. You've not had it in 2 years. You've not had a strike of matatus in 2 years because of our continuous engagement with them. And so at times, even if it might, sometimes, have a week of calm and they come back, there's a way we engage them pragmatically and then move them in a humane way. If we took the option of now putting armed police there and start beating up people, it will not work. So, yes, there could be days when traders show up, we engage them. You'll find 2 days where it is clean. Eventually, it has to settle. More markets. Right now, the discussion with them is about Mwariro. Yeah? And they've come to us as recently as last week through my CEC. That's why I'm saying a committee would go deeper into it because we're discussing the audit. Yeah, through my CEC just allow me to finish. Yeah. Through the CEC of markets, asking that yes, if you can give us space outside the market, the parking area at Mwariro, then we'd be happy to move from there. We want them then, okay, we agree, maybe for some of you, Kangundo is too far, come to Mwariro. It is a continuous engagement. It is not black and white, start and stop. Theoretically it is, but practically when you're actually in there, it doesn't work that way.
We started off very well. It's like a visit to the doctors, and you need to be very clear about your symptoms so that we know what you're suffering from and prescribe the proper medicine. But now if you start to confuse us on the actual state of affairs in some of these areas, we don't know how to help. Are you sure that none of the people who was relocated from Wakulima is back there? You are saying those are new people.
I can say that very confidently. I can say that quite confidently. Yeah. Because you see even the vehicles have registration numbers.
It's not the vehicles. The overriding, and I even supported you on that. We don't want what happened in Londiani to happen at Wakulima. They're on the road even if we left this room and went there with you now. But you cannot say they are new people. I know some of those traders.
Then convince them to go. If you know them, say help us. Let's work together.
On the day I sit there, Governor, I will have the persuasive powers to move them. But you cannot ascribe. You cannot ascribe work that has been assigned to you constitutionally to your senator.
Let me bring this session to a close so that we move to the next one.
Yeah.
But it is our view that just by looking at financial statements is not sufficient oversight over Nairobi.
Yes.
And just as the way we are saying, we need to have different arrangements for cities in everything.
Even in
we cannot take the approach I take for oversight of Homa Bay cannot be the same approach I take for Nairobi. And so that's why all these comments coming from senators, they are extremely valid and they are within the mandate of this committee. And members, I think Nairobi being just a stone throw away, in the next session, we probably need to be more on the ground.
Wonderful.
Because instead of talking about Wakulima in a boardroom, all we need to do is to go there. Instead of talking about the rivers, all we need is to go there.
Chair, I have a personal frustration in this committee where I feel that Nairobi doesn't appear as often as other governors. I've seen some governors here more than enough times. And the reason why all these issues build up is because I don't feel like we have enough sessions with Nairobi. So even from your chair, I think you need to give us more time with the Nairobi County government. And lastly, just because he has brought up markets, there was an issue, Governor, we raised with you about Kahawa West Market, where your people allowed stalls to be built outside the gate of the market. And you had given us an assurance that those stalls will be removed. Have those stalls been removed?
No. And they won't be removed, Senator. What we found when we looked into it, there had been extensive public participation with the people of the market. And there's new construction going on. What they've agreed to do is to do differentiation of what is sold at the stalls, so that you don't have the same product in the market being sold outside the store. And I'll be very happy to furnish you with the public participation report there. I understand, I know you went there, I know the issues I know the chair of that market and the MCA and whatnot, but they'd actually done that participation, because I looked into it. I really, just like every other ward, it's a ward very close to my heart, and I've looked into it. Pragmatically, we don't have enough trading spaces for all our people. Even with the new construction, which is going on right now, if you go to see, that even won't be enough. So long as there's differentiation, because you don't want people selling outside the market what is inside the market. None will go inside the market, and so you'll kill your own market where you're putting money to. So work with me to make sure that we do that differentiation properly. So
I'll be happy to see the report. If you are telling me that the traders inside agreed to that, I'll be happy to see that report.
Okay. Well, we will share that.
Yeah, I think Nairobi is a complex organization. You are thinking about hawkers, you're thinking about markets, you're thinking about green bonds, you're thinking about BRT, Namata, water. So you went for the job, you left us here in Parliament. We will put you under pressure to perform.
I work best like that. And Chair, I think the Senator of Nairobi is correct, and yourself. A lot of the things, you've asked which of these projects will you do, which ones can you do. When you go together to a house in Ngando that has never received water and you open the tap, that is audit. If we go together to Kiumbuini in Westlands and talk to a child who's never been to school every day of the week because of hunger, and now they're eating every day. We're feeding 316,000 children daily at 5 shillings. That is audit. It look better than the documents if we go out there to see what this revenue we're raising and that we've increased is doing on the ground. So I'm very happy and open to that. When you go to Pumwani and see the first ICU there, Mama Lucy, see the NICU at Mbagathi, see what is happening in Mutwini, where for the first time, people are being referred from private facilities to a public facility because of the machinery. And one of the questions actually Senator Sifuna, when visited us with the health committee, said there's no X-ray. And I put that CEO to task because what he had been telling you possibly was not reflective. Today, go there. It is amazing. So oversight builds institutions. And I am a believer in oversight. I've been a senator longer than I've been a governor. So Chair, I'm very open to that. I think finally, on the questions that had been...
that's a final response, then we go to the report.
Finally, on the questions that have been asked, 2021, which is when NMS just took over, was 10. 21, 22.